People, when they're looking for a different way, maybe a more meaningful way to live or to educate their children, they come across her ideas and it just speaks to them. It really touches the soul and what we want for our children. We want so much more, right, than workbooks and rote memorization and that sort of stuff. So that's who Charlotte Mason is.
Hi, everybody. It's me again, Lacey Grimm, and I'm here today with Rachel Lebowitz, and I am super excited to talk to her about homeschooling. If you don't know already, we are homeschoolers. We've got 4 kids. We homeschool on the homestead. Schoolhouse life, I feel like it goes totally, obviously, we love education and learning, but Rachel has committed to serve folks through helping them be better homeschoolers and learn how to homeschool and sort of coaching them through homeschool, and I can't wait for her to share that with you. But first, I want her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about how she started down this road and what her experience with homeschooling really looks like. So Rachel, please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. So the Charlotte Mason method is something I'm very passionate about and love. And we have always homeschooled since my kids were little. We started probably before we should have, at like age 4.
Right. We all do that.
Yes. But we've always done the Charlotte Mason method. And some of the things that really attracted me to this method was the beauty of it, the life-giving kind of education rather than workbooks and rote memorization and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And just Charlotte's view on children, how children are born persons and that they deserve the respect that anybody else deserves. And so all those beautiful things really attracted me to the Charlotte Mason method. And so over the years, as my children have grown, and they're like 16 and 12 now, so we've been doing this a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, so other moms in our local CM group always would turn to me for help and stuff. And so I found that I really, really loved helping other moms learn and clarify and especially simplify the Charlotte Mason method, because it can be overwhelming. Homeschooling with any method can be overwhelming.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to really make it simple and show them how simple and beautiful it can be. So that's when I started a Charlotte Mason plenary.
I love that. Okay, so you've already done this for me, but I want you to do it for other listeners as well. What does the word plenary mean? Because I just think this is beautiful.
So the word plenary means to include everyone. It is the essence of inclusivity. And like if you've ever been to a conference or something and you go to one of the sessions that everybody that's registered for the conference goes to, that's called a plenary session, as opposed to like breakout groups where you're in smaller groups and not everyone is included in those.
Right.
And so I really wanted the message that, the Charlotte Mason method is and can be for everyone, no matter your religious background or your educational background or whatever that you have coming to homeschooling, because it's a method. It's not a system. And because it's a method, it is so highly adaptable and customizable to your family and your situation. And so that's what plenary means and kind of the inspiration for why I started the plenary.
I think that's so important for homeschoolers to remember, is that we homeschool so that we can do things our way.
Yes.
Sometimes we get caught up in the other systems or the other curriculums or the other ways that people say you need to do it, or even the standards by which, traditional schoolers measure themselves. And I think that what you're doing is so important because it gives us the space to take what we want out of our homeschool experience and use these tools and methods and create something really unique to what we need in any given moment. And that can be the intimidating part about curriculum in general, is, you feel like you're forcing it into your personal routine or what have you. So yeah, I love this. Is amazing. Okay. So how would you describe the services that you offer? What is the Charlotte Mason Plenary?
Oh, okay. So I have 3 main goals over at the plenary, and it's to make things easier, simpler, and to help you customize it and make it your way. Mm-hmm. So the easier part is making the method easier to learn. Okay. Making it easier to read her volumes, for example. She wrote 6 volumes.
She wrote so much. Yes.
I know.
And it's intimidating because every word is good. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get through this because it takes a minute to absorb. It's great. Her writing is amazing.
it's all gold, right? And so it's important to read her volumes, I think, if you can. And I always recommend volumes 1 and 6. And so because I think those are the most important, I have annotated those volumes here. So here we have volume 6, Philosophy of Education, and we also have Home Education, which is volume 1.
Oh, I love
and
that.
So I've annotated those so that it makes it easier to read, so that when you're reading through it and you come across a reference, because she makes so many references to different books and events and people and places. And when you understand those references, it makes the reading that much more deeper and
meaningful. Yeah,
meaningful, exactly. So easier is one, and then simpler to actually implement the method. I have what I call the CM Your Way form guides over on the plenary, and I created those because I wanted to walk people through how to do it in a very simple and a very easy way. And so the CM Your Way form guides lay out everything you need to know for each form, and they really walk you through and hold your hand on how to set up everything from each subject, and even how to create your own custom schedule.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. Rachel, can we take a step back? And can you tell us who is Charlotte Mason? Because I know people who don't have any idea about when did she live, what is her authority, and maybe how would you summarize like her idealism? You did that a little bit already, but just give us a little hint on who is Charlotte Mason.
So Charlotte Mason was a British educator who lived in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. And she wrote about her philosophy of education and started a whole school system based on that. And much of the British Empire was educated with this method back when she was alive. And it's since found a resurgence, especially in the US, because her books and her viewpoint about children and about how to educate children are just so beautiful and so meaningful that, people, when they're looking for a different way, maybe a more meaningful way to live or to educate their children, they come across her ideas and it just speaks to them. It really touches the soul and what we want for our children. We want so much more, right, than workbooks and rote memorization and that sort of stuff. So that's who Charlotte Mason is.
Yeah, I think what draws me to her, I think we call Charlotte Mason a lot of time living education, and most of the texts that they read are considered living history, which just means you learn history through stories of people who actually lived during these times, and those stories stick with the kid without them forcing memory facts. It's just something that it's so whole, really. It feels holistic, like holistic education.
Yes.
So thank you. That's perfect. I love it. Okay. So who would your ideal customer be, Rachel? Like somebody you could really help, who would that be?
Well, so really anybody that's interested in the Charlotte Mason method, but I find that the people that really get, I guess, so many moms start the Charlotte Mason method and then they get so frustrated with it because they get these messages that they have to do everything, perfectly. If you're not doing it this way, you're not doing it, correctly. Right. And so, so many moms get frustrated with it and are looking for an easier, simpler way. And, I've met moms that are kind of ready to quit the CM method and go to something else. And I tell them, no, let me help. Yeah. And that's kind of how I got started with it, with helping other moms, because, they were about to throw in the towel. And I said, no, don't, let me help.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think it can be so intimidating, even for me, who I kind of am willing to throw all of the other people's thoughts out the window in terms of what we should be doing. When I see and watch other people in their Charlotte Mason ways, it can be really intimidating because it's so beautiful. A lot of times there's just beautiful nature drawings involved, and things just look so tidy, I think. And we are not tidy in our house, right? We're all over the place, and we have a large age range. So I have to be able to cater to my 4-year-old and my 15-year-old and my 8-year-old who's not the strongest reader yet. And it can be really it can be really hard to balance all of those things, especially since Charlotte Mason is so heavy reading. For us, what we found anyway, there's a lot of literature involved, which we love, but I can only read aloud to so many people at one time. So it's been challenging and it can be overwhelming. So I love what you're doing because I think it's so key and so important. And from the outside, Charlotte Mason can seem sort of unapproachable for the duty. And you really are just dumbing that way down and making it simple and beautiful. So I love it. I'm excited about what you're doing. I think there's a reason that we met in a totally random place because I need you. So I'm excited.
Oh, thanks. I'm happy to help.
That's right. So we all need a little comfort, I think, from time to time, just remembering that our kids are going to be fine.
Yes.
Can you share any client testimonials or people who have benefited from the tools that you're offering in a way that might resonate with our folks?
Yeah, well, one of the very first consultations I did was a mom named Erin, and she was one of those that was ready to throw in the towel. And so as I walked her through my CM Your Way guide and kind of the method that I use to simplify things, I could just see the stress melt away from her body. And, she started the meeting with just very tense and very stressed out. And at the end, she was relaxed and smiling and she felt like, I can do this. And she's been doing great ever since, that was like 2+ years ago.
Wow.
And so every mom that, and I do one-on-one consultations also, but the CM Your Way form guides really walk you through all of that. And if you need a little bit more help, I can do the consultation. But I've heard from so many hundreds of families that say it's really simplified things. They felt empowered. And I love that word empowered because, my goal is to give moms the confidence and the tools that they need to do the Charlotte Mason method successfully in their home and to feel like they are a success with what they are doing. So.
Yay. Okay, that's great. All right, lastly, what is one little thing that you do, maybe as a part of your regular routine, or maybe just to mix things up when maybe everything isn't going as planned and it just makes you and your kids happier?
Okay. Know that answer. For me and my family, it's folk songs.
Oh, yay. That's a good answer.
We love to sing.
I love folk songs, yes.
Yeah, and so there's so many subjects in the Charlotte Mason method that lower the stress level, right? There's so many, they're what I call the joy subjects. And it's things like nature study, it's things like singing, it's things like handicrafts, picture study, all these things that scientific studies have shown that when you engage in these activities, the cortisol level in your body lowers.
Yeah.
And it actually increases the bonding. So, I try to tell families to always have at least one joy subject in their day every day because it helps de-stress and helps you bond.
Yeah.
We end up probably singing folk songs every day in my house because we hit that math subject and sometimes we have some problems in math. So a lot of times in my house, math and folk songs go hand in hand.
I love that. Good balance. That is brilliant. What a good tip. Well, Rachel, I know you have a freebie for our listeners, and I'm so excited about it. So please share with them the special thing that they get access to. Okay, so I wanted to offer your viewers 15% off anything over at the plenary. We have a lot of good free resources and stuff on the website too, but if they wanted to purchase a product, I wanted to offer 15% off. So the coupon code is simply Schoolhouse Life. Yay! Through all of May, so 15% off. 15% off. That's wonderful. And what I love is if maybe you're homeschooling you didn't expect to be. It could be that's true for you, right? And going into next year, everybody's getting ready for next year. If you are a homeschooler, it's time to start thinking ahead. It's a good time to really be taking advantage of these tools. So I appreciate it so much. Thanks. And tell us really quickly what the name of your website is so that our listeners on the podcast will know. Yeah, it's a Charlotte Mason Plenary, or the address is cmplenary.com. And plenary is spelled Plenary. Perfect. All right, Rachel, thank you so much. I can't wait to share this with all my wild and free homeschooler friends. I know
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
It was fun. Bye.